we are here in the Lao exhibit booth with Stephen Young, Executive Director of Mekong Tourism Office, which represents the 7 Mekong regions. I will let Stephen introduce himself and tell us a little bit about Mekong Tourism Office and what it is doing for its members.
All right. Thank you, Charles. As Charles said, I'm Stephen Young with the Mekong Tourism Office. I basically operate the office in Bangkok, Thailand, and the GMS basically is made out of 6 nations in the GMS countries, which is the Greater Mekong sub-region. It makes out of Cambodia, China, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. And these are all basically funded by the 6 governments to set up the office, and it was started since last year in February. And I'm here now with Vice Chairman of Lao National Tourism Administration to share with us on how Lao is doing of tourism. Thank you, Charles.
Very nice to be with you this morning.
Good morning.
I had the pleasure of visiting your country last October with Stephen. I must say I found it very, very charming, and I'm just a student learning more about your country. So I hope you don't mind if I ask some very basic questions, because I think our audience around the world are probably like me, that have not visited Laos and like to learn more about it.
Welcome on kind of question.
Now, in terms of visitors right now, how many came last year to your country, and which are the top 3-4 countries where they originated?
Last year we record 1.2 million. It increased about 20%. And we can say that in the past 4 years after ATF year 2004, we record a jump every year about 200,000. But from last year to this year, about more than 100,000. Last year, year 5, we record 1.1. This year, 1.2 and plus.
Now, why all of a sudden this unbelievable increase?
Because we have the framework of cooperation in the GMS framework, 6 countries of the Mekong regions, and also the framework of ASEAN cooperation. Besides that, we have bilateral cooperation with neighboring countries. We have joint promotion together, so it attracts more and more tourists and visitors to come to Laos, because our situation is stable, peaceful. Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia now, not like the past 30 years. It is very peaceful and in full swing of development and construction. Now Laos, we have developed East-West corridor, North-South corridor from China to Bangkok to Thailand, across Laos, from Vietnam across Laos to Thailand, from China even to Cambodia now. So by land, by air, we increase the airline, Luang Prabang Bangkok, Luang Prabang Hanoi, Luang Prabang Siem Reap, something like that.
What's a typical itinerary that a Western visitor would follow when they visit your country?
Western visitor, they wish to come to see cultural heritage like Luang Prabang, like Wat Phu Champasak, Setapura, own ancient city, and the Plain of Jar. So we have many things to offer, many attraction. We have 20 national park, big chunko, so suitable for ecotourism. And we have underground river, 2 underground river in Laos. And we have also the big waterfall of the Mekong River, the biggest in Southeast Asia.
If I have it correct, Laos has a few. How many World Heritage sites does Laos have now?
We have 2 now. Luang Prabang ancient city. It is a living heritage. And we have Wat Phu Champasak, including Setapura ancient city, underground, now they dig. And we have the Plain of Jars will be in the list maybe this year or next year.
And in terms of entry, visitors entering Laos, which are the top 3 entry points?
We can entry by air. We have 3 international airports, Vientiane, Luang Prabang, and Pak Se. And they can come by border checkpoint. We open 13 border checkpoints that can take visa at the arrival. And we have also exemption of visa for the ASEAN citizen people. And recently we do the exemption of visa for the Japanese tourists.
So if I can apply in advance for the visa, or I can take care of that upon arrival?
You are Singaporean?
I am U.S. citizen.
US citizen, you can take the visa at the arrival.
On arrival. And how about most of the EU countries?
EU country too.
On arrival.
On arrival for every country.
That makes it.
Yeah, we facilitate.
That's great. That's great. And looking forward, you're still going to be looking at these 20% type growth in the next few years?
We hope so. We hope so because now we are in full swing of development of facility and road and airport. So we hope.
Stephen,
the big problem for us is now our carrying capability is still weak because in terms of guys, supposedly Chinese language guy or Japanese or Korean, we have to have more training.
more training. And how is that being handled? I mean, which organizations are providing that?
We try to cooperate with the concerned country, the development agency, to help us. Especially in the case of Japan, we have very good cooperation with ASEAN Japan Center. And with China too, we have cooperation with CNTA. And
so the training, is there two issues? The people on the ground in Laos need to train their guides.
yeah, we train the guy.
And then how about the guides from the source country? Is that
They can come as a translator or head of the team.
I see.
Because according to our law, the guide business allow only for the Lao citizen to do.
I understand. So it sounds like as the industry grows in such large percentage, 20%, that's you're needing to prepare your resources for the tourism industry to keep up with it. Is that a kind of an
we have
issue?
to prepare our human resources, and also we would like to invite investor to develop hotel, restaurant in Laos.
I want to talk about a subject that I know is low season travel. I know that when we talk about travel through various Mekong region, ASEAN region countries, you have this investment for tourism, one great investment that seems to service tourism, the 80-20 rule. 20% of the months for 80% of the tourists, maybe not that bad. But what can people do in tourism to encourage more tourism during the low season?
During the low season, we try to organize some kind of meeting or fam trip or caravan in order to attract more tourists, organize the tour for the student, for the youth, something like that.
First of all, let me ask, for Laos, for the Mekong region, I presume is fairly similar. Which months are the low season, Stephen?
Well, very similar to the ASEAN countries itself. Basically, low season stretch from April right up to September, and October it picks up to April again. That's where the low season is. Yeah.
The low season, we can say in Laos, it is the rainy season.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Now,
15 minutes final
during
session has ended,
the
and you have 55 minutes
this
for the next session.
so-called low season,
Usually it's from June to September.
so this is when families have their summer vacation,
Yeah.
around Western worlds and, well, throughout the world. And Stephen, tell me a little bit of what kind of things you've seen that works that we could share with our audience of how they can promote it during these seasons, because the price for sure is low, right?
Well, we encourage not just tourism outside of the source from Europe and the Americas, but of course travel within the GMS country or travel within Asia or even the ASEAN countries. That really helps us in also continuing our businesses in the destination. So those are the areas that we also emphasize. So travel within also, I would say so, yeah.